Hello, thank you for coming. reSITE 2016, Cities in Migration. It's amazing to see so many people. That was 5 years of reSITE. Well, this is the 5th, so we're really excited to see you. And I think what I'm going to ask you to do is please stand. And I'm very serious. Everyone stand up and say hello to each other. Turn to your right. Introduce yourself. And ask the question, where are you from? Don't just say hello to your friends. Where are you from? We ask this question because the question, where are you from, is the first level of integration. When you sit down at the dinner table in a new city, when you go to a new job, when you find new friends, the only question that someone can ask you that can make you feel at home is, where are you from? And it's the first level of social integration. And it's the first step at designing integration in the city. Because essentially, I think that we're all migrants. We all have a migration story. And in particular, the people in this room, we have opportunity. We're a floating generation, and global opportunities are available to all of us. And who's going to do the best job integrating us, right? Because while we have opportunity and we know what we might want, we're an educated class of people. Cities are the thing that have imagination for us, right? You go to a city because there's something new about it. There's something attractive that you want to do there. You might have to leave your story behind. You might not want to answer the question, where are you from? And it might be exciting and liberating to go to that new place. But after that excitement settles in, you're alone. You're by yourself. And you've been drawn to that place because the imagination of that city is special, and the vision of that city means something to you to start anew. And we talk about that as magnetism, right? What does a city have that attracts people? And that city has to do better than just attracting. It has to integrate. Because again, we're all migrants. We all have a migration story. It's not fair for me to ask you where you're from without telling mine. It's super easy for me to tell this story, right? I was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, but it's more complex than that. My family, about 350 years ago, they migrated from the coast of France to this northern, western part of Ireland. My dad's cousins still live there. This is the land that they own. There's 12 people in this town. When I visited them 3 years ago, they said there's too many people. We couldn't get far enough away, and it's really like the furthest northernmost, westernmost part of Sligo. And there's too many people because in the summer there's about 1,000 people that come and hang out at the beach here. My story is this. It's Manhattan, then the suburbs of New York City and Westchester, then Baltimore for university, then California for a short piece, then Syracuse for graduate school, then back to Manhattan, then to Brooklyn, then to Prague, then to Brooklyn, then to Prague. And that's where I am now. And I'm alone. When I got here, when I first made the decision in 2011 to take the scholarship, I sat in those chairs alone. And every time at the dinner table, every time at a meeting, you have to introduce yourself to somebody, and the question they ask you is, where are you from? And I think it's an important question to ask, because in the context of that question, it helps us arrive at new answers, it helps us arrive at new understandings of people. And as designers, where we come from on this stage mostly, we can design that solution. We can integrate people into cities in a better way, no matter where they're from. Whether they're from Raqqa, or Paris, or New York. And telling the story through reSITE's eyes, I think it's important to understand what we do here and why we do it. We're primarily based in the community, right? We're interested in bottom-up solutions for the city, but we're interested in integrating the finance and developers in the city. We have to talk about politics and design, so reSITE's the intersection of those 4 issues. We act as a collaborative platform and a catalyst for social action and innovative leadership, and we're now an international platform. And the things we care about are livability, resiliency, and competitiveness. Competitiveness in the sense that we attract all sorts of different people to the city. That planning and design responds to the needs of different types of citizens. And what do we value? We value leadership, particularly in the private sector and the civic sector. And we value collaboration between the top and the bottom. We value sort of integrated approach to cities and bottom-up, top-down thinking. And vision is so important because we're interested in architecture, urban design, and public space, and we need vision to implement these things. These are mostly social constructs, public architecture, public space, urban design. Something to improve life in the city. You need leadership and vision in order to build those things. This is where we started in 2012. You saw the video, all those things that we did. We started this initiative as a volunteer-based effort. A lot of people are still volunteering here today. like me. And we started with Rosie because we tried to get people interested in this topic in a different way. We tried to activate public space that was currently underactivated. We did that in several parts of the city. And we moved that discussion by inflating a rubber balloon, basically a pavilion, Rosie the ballerina. We were able to start a new discussion about public space in the city of Prague, and we had no idea where it would go. We thought it would end here, and we're now here 5 years later. 5 years. It's unbelievable. We did 78 plus events. 300 people have come through our doors to speak, including today, from 35 countries. And we do this because we want to leave this city and other cities in better shape for the next generation than it is for this one. That's super easy to say, but it's incredibly hard to make everyone believe that. Just a little bit of the growth. This year we're flying with birds. So in 2012 we had about 350 people. And just to show you that this topic, sort of integration, collaboration, bottom-up, top-down thinking, in this city where it wasn't really talked about 4 years ago, we're now attracting over 900 people have registered for this event. That's an incredible amount of interest. And we're not saying that self-congratulatorily. We're saying that because it's amazing that so many people are interested in the topic. We're working with the city of Prague, and thanks to Institute for Planning and Development, IPUR, and Mr. Hlavacek, the director, and Mrs. Konasheva from the city of Prague, the mayor, we have a lot of support, moral support, and funding to make this possible. We're super happy to be partners with them. And we think, when working with the city, I heard this 2 weeks ago in Warsaw, from a mayor I hadn't really heard of before, but I think it's incredibly poignant. Cities need to be intentional about the future. They can't drift there, and that takes leadership and it takes vision from all sectors, from our sector, the civic sector, from political sector, and also the private sector. I didn't leave New York in September, because by the way, I live here full-time. I'm a full-time migrant. I left because we didn't want to just design conferences, which we've been doing for the most part in events. So we're launching an advisory. We're trying to use our creative thinking and our strategic thinking to help cities and investors deal with this issue in a more progressive and innovative way. In a really exciting way, we've won a grant from Vodafone. We're building a digital platform because we think there needs to be more participation in the process in a sort of more modern way. So we're building a digital online platform where people can come up with ideas for public space. They propose them, they collaborate on them. We find private sector support to build it, and we find the public sector who hopefully allows us to do it. We're going to continue to do events, and we're working internationally. So we put together a consortium with Goethe Institute and the Czech centers, and reSITE will be responsible for programming with our partners. 11 institutions across 6 countries in the next 4 years, reSITE will be working in. And the question of migration today, can European cities survive without new immigrants? The answer is probably no. How is Vienna coping with integration and risk? New York, Gdansk, Shenzhen, Amsterdam, Helsinki, Newcastle, Tel Aviv, Stuttgart, Munich? And how are smart leaders attracting residents to their cities? How can we integrate residents and make these places magnets for diverse people and diverse economic goals? We're going to answer that question. How can we improve the urban development environment to find win-win solutions across the public, the private, and the civic sector? How are we going to design public space and transportation, affordable housing, and public architecture to better suit the needs of new residents? Climate change is incredibly important in this topic. And we're going to talk about that in relation to migration and how cities are developing resilient solutions to deal with the challenges and opportunities in climate risk. Because by the way, we see migration as a natural human phenomenon. This is a natural human condition. People are attracted to cities because there's better opportunities. They're going to improve their life, whether they want to sell peanuts or spices in the market, or work in an advisory, or work as an architect. Cities are magnets because of the people aspects. So the program, this is what you really came for. I think this is the best collaboration I've had on the program since we started. Osamu Okamoto was responsible for almost every line that you see in the program. And when we started talking about migration, everyone said, don't do it. It's too controversial, particularly here. And we said, that's exactly why we're going to do it. We're going to talk about that in this context to see how we can bridge the gulf between the sort of experiential divide between the East and the West. How we can kind of come to grips with integrating new people in cities. And we tried to find the best person to talk about that, and we think it's Saskia Sassen. And Saskia is going to join us next. Not yet, though. Michael Kimmelman is here for the second time. We're so excited to have him talk about climate change and integration and migration, particularly in the cities of Shenzhen, Guangzhou, DFA, Mexico City, and Stuttgart. A discussion panel moderated by Jan Mahacek, which is Migrating Nations from a global perspective. This will sort of put this topic in perspective globally. Kirster Lindstad will talk about migrating cities, the city of Kiruna, to move a city because of environmental challenges, to a new place? And how do you integrate the architecture and citizens at once? We're going to come back with an urban combine this year, which is a fast kind of 5x5 format, automated presentations to wake people up after lunch. Another discussion panel, Migrating Cultures, moderated by Lucas Feideis, about inclusive design. How does design respond to this challenge? After all, we come at this from a design perspective. And finally, Martin Lorrain Cano. It's the second time Martin has talked at reSITE. He came in 2012. He gave an amazing presentation, and we're going to ask him to focus specifically now on Superkillen Park, a Superkillen public space in Copenhagen, which is designed for immigrants. Tomorrow morning, come back, because IPR, the city of Prague, is going to present their vision for the strategic plan and the metropolitan plan of Prague. Mimi Huang is going to present many solutions from N Architects, the firm that she has with Eric Bunge. Her partner is also here. And they're going to talk about micro-unit housing, in addition to some of the public spaces they've designed. Migrating People, Flexible and Resilient Cities, moderated by our friend Shamu. And this is going to be talking about resiliency and the fact of, again, integration about people and flexibility, responding to people's needs. And Masha Underwater talking about the transformation in Vienna, the main retail street, and try to find an inclusive design approach for retail in a commercial district. Again, the Urban Combine, where particularly you might pay attention to this. This is where we're going to talk for 5 minutes. Jakub Rasik will talk about our new project in the European Union. And finally, the thing that everyone's probably confused about, on your name tag, there's two little buttons or icons in the bottom. One's a color and another is an icon. We're going to force you tomorrow afternoon to play a game. It's a new format for reSITE by Play the City by Ikim Tan. She's designed a game where we can sort of deal with design challenges and planning challenges together, collaboratively. So in teams of 12, we're going to gather around those boards. We'll have advisors at each board, and we're going to try to come up with solutions together, collaboratively. This will last for about an hour and a half, and followed by Carl Weisbrod, who you shouldn't miss, the final presentation, the chairman of the New York City Planning Commission and director of planning in New York City. We'll talk about their plan for 200,000 affordable units of housing to be built in the next 10 years to integrate people into the city of different income brackets. Don't miss the public events. The salons tonight and a workshop at the Emblem Hotel. We also have a bike ride tomorrow, starting here at Forum Carlin. You should sign up on the Facebook page. Another salon tomorrow night about living together. And of course, the reSITE party. This is the first time we're throwing a party. It's our 5-year birthday party. Come with your bracelets to Stalin. Here, End This Illusion, and you get a free drink on us for the first one. I'm sure you could probably steal 2. So some details. Wi-Fi password is reSITE 2016. The network is reSITE. And finally, you should be tweeting, you should be Instagramming, you should be Facebooking all day, and Facebooking under this hashtag, reSITE 2016. Okay, I can take the next slide. So, as I said, we can't really do this without support from our partners, and Penta Investments has been an incredible partner for us over the last 3 years, and the City of Prague Institute for Planning and Development particularly has helped us. So I'm going to ask Adam Šveda to come to the stage and present the city. And I also want to thank Deloitte, who's a new partner of ours this year. You'll be seeing some of their statistics come up on the boards during breaks. And I'm going to get this name wrong, so please deal with me. Pražské vodovody alkalinizace. I'd rather say it in Czech because in English it's not very nice. But we'd like to thank them for their support this year, and we're going to talk to them to try to integrate a smart citizens approach to their smart city planning over the next year. So Adam, please, for the city.
Martin, thank you. Thank you for bringing all these great people and reSITE again to Prague. This is very special for me. Martin finally migrated to Prague, which makes things more easier. When you organize things like this, you need someone here. The second thing, we have 5th anniversary, 30 year of cooperation. And finally, on IPR, we have some big news. Last year we talked, my colleague Pavla talked about the public spaces, the small scale. And I'm very proud that I could announce that beyond this, we was working hard for 4 years, and I could announce that we finished the first draft of the strategic plan and the metropolitan plan. And this is a bigger scale. It deals how we will move, how we will work, how we will build and how the people will live in the city. And we have another 4 years of heated discussions. And I'm sure we could find the agreement because that's the main purpose of these documents. Tomorrow, my colleagues will talk about the challenge of migration. But we can start the discussion right now. I would like to welcome you at our stand, which is just next to the door to the venue, where you could share your ideas and talk to my colleagues from IPR. So let's start the discussion and enjoy reSITE. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. And Petr Polička from Penta Investments, and Penta is now one of the largest investors and developers in the city, so to have their support, it means a lot to us. As Jeanette Sadakan said to me in 2012, during our first year, we had no idea what to do. She said, you need to get somebody from the private sector on board. So, Petr, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. There is not much to say from my position. Just thank Martin and his team for organizing such important conference. Thanks to all speakers and participants that are willing to come to Prague and share with you their ideas, experience, and witness our views and extend our knowledge. And of course, thank you that you came here and you are willing to give your time and you are interested in the topic. We as a main sponsor of this conference are quite proud. We have opportunity to sponsor such important event, and I strongly believe that it's profitable for all of us, and I strongly believe that not only us as a developers will take some knowledge and will modify maybe our behavior and our projects to the better way, but also the politicians will learn something, and they will change the decision-making process and their intention. So thank you to everybody for coming and organizing, and I can promise that we will continue in support of this event in next years as well. Thank you.